Hey, Warren Eckstein here. So your dog is afraid of the vacuum cleaner. There are many reasons why so many dogs fear the vacuum cleaner, so let's talk about some of them and some of the resolutions. First of all, dogs actually feel sound. They have what we call sound phobia. If it's a sound they're not familiar with, they're going to react to it. That's why it's so important to get your dog familiar with the sound of the vacuum cleaner before you actually start using it with them. Can be done. It can even be done with a dog who's already fearful. Number two, and a lot of people don't realize this, a dog's olfactory or sense of smell is so much better than ours. They smell everything differently. So when you're running your vacuum cleaner and you have all this suction in it, it's sucking up all these smells from around the house. Again, certain types of smells that your dog may not be familiar with. And again, what it's doing is causing your dog to be anxious. So that's important to remember. Now, here's a couple of things you can do. First of all, desensitize your dog to the vacuum cleaner. If you're bringing a dog into the house for the first time or using a vacuum cleaner for the first time, what I recommend that you do is take the vacuum cleaner, keep it low to the ground. Don't start it. Maybe place it next to where the dog eats. Maybe put his favorite treat or his favorite food on top of the vacuum cleaner to associate something very positive with it. That can make all the difference in the world. And you might even want to bring the vacuum cleaner outside where the dog feels more comfortable, not so confined. Put the vacuum cleaner in the backyard, play some games around it. That can help as well. And the other thing is, think about this. What other appliance in your home moves around? The coffee pot doesn't move around. The toaster doesn't move around. The air fryer doesn't move around. It's the vacuum cleaner. So something making noise and moving at the same time could present a territorial challenge to your dog as well. So a couple of things you can do. First of all, and most importantly, if possible, what I recommend if a new dog is coming to the house, and it works for cats as well, make a recording of a vacuum cleaner, your vacuum cleaner preferably, because everyone sounds a little bit different. In the evening, when you're just sitting around, hanging out, watching reruns of something on TV, play the volume on the recorder very low, barely audible. And when the dog's not reacting to it, after a couple of days, increase it a little bit, then increase it a little bit, always ending very positive to desensitize the dog to what the sound of a vacuum cleaner is going to be around. Also, what I recommend doing is vacuuming with the vacuum cleaner when it's not on, again, to get the dog used to the movement. All these things put together can make all the difference in the world. Listen, our dogs, our cats live with us. Why should they be afraid of something in the house that we use so commonly, like a vacuum cleaner? Don't force it. Do it gradually. Make sure that every time the vacuum cleaner is around, there's a positive association. One of the things I've used in the past is, every dog has their favorite neighbor, their favorite relative, their favorite kid in the block. Maybe having that person over the house and introducing the vacuum cleaner at the same time, little by little, the dog is distracted a little bit by the friend being over there, and therefore the vacuum cleaner is not that big a deal. If you follow that advice, if you're consistent about it, and don't make the vacuum cleaner something that's going to chase the dog around with, and people do that, sooner or later the dog will come around to it. However, let me just kind of say this. There are certain dogs and certain cats whose hearing is so sensitive, or maybe you've adopted an older dog that was either abused or whatever around the vacuum cleaner. So not every dog or cat is going to adapt to a vacuum cleaner, but if possible, and you follow the advice of desensitizing, counter conditioning, a big thing, every time the vacuum cleaner is around, it has to end in a positive. If it always ends in a positive, there's not going to be any negative. And one of the things that's really freaking dogs out nowadays is the robotic vacuum cleaners. Here's this thing moving around the house. You're not even there. It's moving around the house, and the dog is freaking out over it. Again, what I recommend is maybe a treat or a little food on top. Let the dog get used to it. Let it move around a little bit with positive reinforcement. So yes, things can be done if you have a dog that's afraid of the vacuum cleaner. And let's face it, who wants a dog or a cat that's afraid of something in the house? It's not fair to them. So start out gradually, build it up gradually, little by little. I promise you, he'll never vacuum for you, but the dog will become accustomed to your vacuum cleaner. I'm Warren Eckstein.